Hello students. Hello students. Welcome back to Sri Vidyalakshmi Matriculation Higher Secondary School YouTube channel. எங்க ஸ்கூல் சார்பா class 12 physics conceptsலாம் நாங்க அப்லோட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம். We hope these videos are very much useful to you to understand the concepts better. நீங்க எப்பெல்லாம் டைம் கிடைக்குதோ அப்பெல்லாம் இந்த வீடியோஸ் நீங்க பார்த்துக்கலாம். உங்களுக்கு யூஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கும்னு நான் நினைக்கிறோம். உங்களோட போர்டு எக்ஸாம் ப்ரிப்பரேஷனுக்கும் இது யூஸ்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கும் நாங்க நம்புறோம். இந்த யூடியூப் சேனலை தொடர்ந்து பாருங்க. உங்களோட ஜென்யூன் கமெண்ட்ஸை எங்களுக்கு நீங்க கொடுங்க. ஓகே, whether it is appreciation or criticism, both are welcome. நம்ம கிளாஸ் 12 ஃபிசிக்ஸில் எலக்ட்ரோஸ்டாட்டிக்ஸ் சாப்டர் பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கோம். And today we are going to discuss about capacitors. Welcome. Capacitor is a energy storage device. Capacitor is a energy storage device. In capacitor, there will be two plates. In capacitor, there will be two plates. If one plate is positively charged and another plate gets negatively charged, the charges are stored in the capacitor. The charges are stored in the capacitor. So a capacitor is an energy storage device, just like a tank. Water is stored in the tank. Whenever we need, we can take it out. Similarly, capacitor is an energy storage device. You just imagine a plate like this. Imagine a plate like this. If it is given positive charges, if it is countered to a potential, like this, then what happens? Then this side positive charges are induced in this. Okay, this side positive charges are there, which in turn induces negative charges here actually, which in turn induces negative charges here. And actually at the opposite side, positive charges will be induced due to electrostatic induction, and when this is countered to earth, this positive charges will vanish, and there is a potential difference. There is a potential difference between the two plates. Actually, when the positive charges are induced in the, let us take this as plate A, let us take this as plate B. When positive charges are induced in the plate A, which in turn induces negative charges in the nearby plate B, this side, okay, then what happens? This will reduce the potential here. That will reduce it, because this opposite charge, isn't it? Therefore, that will reduce the potential here, and to compensate that, the more number of charges will go to the plate. Whereas negative charges induced here in turn to this, that will slightly increase the potential here, but anyway, overall potential will slightly go down. When you compare the potential drop due to this minus and potential increase due to plus, then overall potential will slightly go down. To compensate that, some charges are flowing from battery to the plate. And finally, there will be some charges because we are connecting this to earth, and there will be some charges in this plate and the B also. In A there will be positive charges, and in B there will be negative charges. And actually this is how we connect. Therefore, the potential difference across the battery will be equal to potential difference across the capacitor plates. Generally in capacitor there will be two plates. Okay, one is positively charged, another one is negatively charged. Whatever the number of positive charges here, the same number of negative charges will be induced there. Whatever the number of positive charges, the same number of negative charges will be induced. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just for understanding, I am counting this. What are the number of positive charges here? Same number of negative charges will be induced there. So in a capacitor, we can say that total number of charges will be equal to 0. It's because total number of positive charges will be equal to total number of negative charges in a capacitor. Total number of positive charges in a capacitor will be equal to total number of negative charges. So you can say that total charge in the capacitor is 0. Then some electric field is developed there. Let D is the distance between the plates. V is the potential difference across the battery, and therefore the same will be the potential difference across the capacitor plates. There will be two plates actually. And we have C is equal to Q by V, C is equal to Q by V, C is equal to Q by V. We are increasing the charges in the capacitor, we are increasing the charges in the capacitor by increasing the potential. Potential difference across the battery, potential difference across the two plates in the capacitor will be the same, they are parallel, potential difference will be the same. We can increase or decrease charges by increasing or decreasing the potential. C is equal to Q by V, C is equal to Q by V. Then we can say that the charges developed or induced in the capacitor plates is directly proportional to the potential difference, directly proportional to the potential difference. We can say that Q is equal to C into V. C is capacitance of the capacitor. Capacitor is a device. Capacitance is the process or the work the capacitor does. Capacitance. C is equal to Q by V. So we can write that C is equal to Q divided by. We can write that C is equal to Q by V, where C is capacitance of the capacitor, Q is charge in the capacitor, V is the potential difference between the plates. Unit for capacitance is farad. Farad, F-A-R-A-D, farad. Generally, microfarad and picofarad values are used. Microfarad and picofarad. Microfarad is 10 power minus 6 farad and picofarad is 10 power minus 12 farad. Picofarad is 10 power minus 12 farad. Charge, we can increase the charge by increasing the potential here. We can decrease the charge by decreasing the potential here. Potential across the battery, potential across the capacitor plates will be the same. Q is directly proportional to V. The charges in the capacitor is directly proportional to V. So what do you understand that by increasing the potential, by increasing the potential in the battery, we are not going to increase the capacitance of the capacitor. Capacitance of the capacitor is constant. For example, if you are using a capacitor of a 2 microfarad, the capacitance of the capacitor is constant. If you change V value, only the charge value will change. Capacitance of the capacitor will not change by changing the V value. Unit for capacitance is farad. Microfarad and picofarad capacitors are generally used in circuits. Microfarad is 10 power minus 6 farad, picofarad is 10 power minus 12 farad. Now let us derive an equation for this. In a capacitor there will be two plates, as one plate is positively charged and another plate will get negatively charged, then total number of charges in the capacitor will be 0. Okay, let us take the same. D is the distance and plus Q is here, minus Q is here, E, and imagine it is connected to a battery. Imagine it is connected to a battery like this, where potential difference is V there. Charges in the capacitor is Q is directly proportional to V. Charges in the capacitor is based on the potential difference between the plates. Q is directly proportional to V. We can write that Q is equal to C into V. Q is equal to C into V. From this, C is equal to Q divided by V. C is equal to Q divided by V. Capacitance of the capacitor is ratio between charge given to the plates and potential difference developed between the plates. C is equal to Q by V. And total charges in the plates. Total charges in the plates. Total charges in the plates, Q is equal to sigma into A. Q is equal to sigma into A. Imagine this is a plate. Imagine this is the plate A here. This is the plate A here. Okay. And total area of the plate is A. If you want to calculate total charges present in the total plate, if you want to calculate total charges there, then we have to imagine the unit surface. Okay, if it is 1 meter and 1 meter, unit area, if the number of charges there is sigma is number of charges in unit area, then A is total area of the plate, then total charge Q will be equal to sigma into A. Charge present in unit area, if it is multiplied with the total area of the plate, we are going to get total charges present in the plate. Okay, we are going to get Q. So we can write that Q is equal to sigma into A, where Q is total charge in the plate, sigma is charge density, charge per unit area, and A is total area. And relation between electric field and potential E is equal to V divided by D, E is equal to V divided by V. This equation we get from E is equal to minus dV by dx, Electric field at a point is negative potential gradient. We get from this E is equal to minus dV by dx. The minus sign indicates that along the direction of electric field, potential gradient value decreases. E is equal to V by D can be written. Then also there is another equation that we have E is equal to sigma divided by epsilon naught. E is equal to sigma divided by epsilon naught. Imagine this is a plate and imagine this is another plate. This plate is being positively charged and this plate is being negatively charged. This is application of Gauss law. This equation we get from applications of Gauss law. To a point which is inside, electric field due to this positively charged plate E sub x p will act along this direction, and due to minus will also act along this direction. This is because negative charge is here. Electric field starts at positive charge, terminates at negative charge. For a point which is outside the plate, due to this positive, electric field will act along this direction. Okay. Due to this negative, electric field will act along this direction. For a point which is here outside this side, electric field due to positively charged plate, electric field will act along this direction, E sub x p plus, and electric field due to negative charge will act along this direction, E minus. Electric field starts at positive charge, terminates at negative charge. So if you just consider points outside the charged plates, you see that the electric fields are acting in opposite directions, therefore they are getting cancelled. Whereas for the points which is inside the plates, electric field due to positively charged plate and electric field due to negatively charged plate, they are acting in the same direction. Therefore, there is resultant electric field. Actually, due to minus it will be equal to sigma divided by 2 epsilon naught, and due to this plus will be equal to E plus will be equal to sigma divided by 2 epsilon naught. Then resultant electric field will be equal to sigma by 2 epsilon naught plus sigma by 2 epsilon naught, which is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. That is what we are writing here. This equation we get from applications of Gauss law. We have E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. E is electric field between the plates and sigma is charge density, that is charge per unit area, and epsilon naught is permittivity. Of the medium, 8.854 into 10 power minus 12. Okay, we have E is equal to sigma by epsilon naught. Then if we substitute these values here, we have from this we can write, we have Q is equal to sigma into A, then sigma is equal to Q divided by A, then E value can be written as E is equal to Q divided by A into epsilon naught. E is equal to V by D here. Then we can write, instead of E we can write V by D. V divided by D is equal to Q divided by A into epsilon naught. And if this value is substituted there, right, if you just rearrange this, we can write V potential equal to Q into D, whereas Q is total charge, D is the distance between the two plates there, A is the area of the plates, epsilon naught is permittivity. We have C is equal to Q by V. For C is equal to Q divided by V. If we substitute the value in this equation, we get C is equal to Q divided by V is Q into D divided by A into epsilon naught. Q gets cancelled, then C is equal to epsilon naught A divided by D. C is equal to epsilon naught A divided by D. We get C is capacitance of the parallel plate capacitor. C is equal to epsilon naught A divided by D, where epsilon naught is permittivity of the medium, 8.854 into 10 power minus 12. A is area of the plate, D is distance between the two plates. See, if area is increased, you see that capacitance of the capacitor is directly proportional to area. So, if area increases, capacitance of the capacitor will increase obviously, because more number of charges will be added up. D is the distance between the two plates. Capacitance of the capacitor is inversely proportional to distance. If the distance is less, capacitance is more. If distance is more, then capacitance is less. C is equal to epsilon naught A divided by V divided by D. In case, you just imagine if you are increasing the distance between the plates. Imagine we are increasing the distance between the plates. You just see this equation we have. Okay, E is equal to V by D, V equal to E into D, V is equal to E into D. From this equation we can write that, V is equal to E into D. If you are increasing the distance, then what happens? If you are increasing the distance, the potential here increases. Then what will happen? Charges from this capacitor will flow to the battery till the potential difference between the plates of the capacitor and the battery becomes equal. If the distance between the plates is reduced, then what will happen? The potential between the two plates decreases. Because electric field is constant there. Because number of charges remain the same there. Electric field constant, then V value decreases. If the distance between the two plates is reduced, then potential between the two plates decreases. Then what will happen? Charges from the battery will flow from the battery to the plates, so that it increases charges here. Then potential between the plates and potential between the battery is the same. Till then the charges will flow. So capacitance of the capacitor is directly proportional to the area of the plate and inversely proportional to distance between the two plates. C is equal to epsilon naught A by D. Now let us discuss energy stored in the capacitor. Capacitor is a energy storage device. Let us discuss how energy is stored. What is the equation to energy stored in a capacitor? Students, we know that when a capacitor is charged, Q is directly proportional to V, and also Q is equal to C into V. In charging a capacitor, if dW is the partial work done, in charging a small amount of charge dQ, where the potential difference is V, then we can write that total work done in charging the capacitor from 0 to Q. Initially there were no charges, okay, to dQ, okay, then maximum amount of charge V is, from this we can write that V is equal to Q by C, Q divided by C dQ, okay, dQ. Then we can write that this is equal to, where C is capacitance of the capacitor is constant, so just take it out, integral 0 to Q, Q dQ. Integral x power n is equal to x power n plus 1 divided by n plus 1. Integral x power n is equal to x power n plus 1 by n plus 1. Applying this formula, we can write that integral q power 1 is there, isn't it? Then we can integral q power 1 equal to q power 1 plus 1 divided by 1 plus 1. So we get q square divided by 2, q square by 2. Then we can write the total work done in charging the plates, capacitor. Total work done in charging the plates, or we can say that the total work done in charging the capacitor. Capacitor is an energy storage device. 1 divided by C. From here we can write that q square by 2, integral. Actually, this is after integration, isn't it? Q square by 2. So this is equal to q square divided by 2c. We have c is equal to q by v here, isn't it? Here we have c is equal to q by v, then q is equal to c into v. If we substitute this here, total work done W is equal to c square v square divided by 2 into c. So we get half CV square, total work done. This total work done is stored as electrostatic potential energy in the capacitor. Total work done is stored as electrostatic potential energy in the capacitor. Generally we represent the potential energy with the letter U. U is equal to half CV square, U is equal to half CV square, U is equal to half CV square, energy stored in the capacitor. Now we can just recall we can relate these two other concepts for comparison. In case of inductor, energy is stored in the form of magnetic field. In case of inductor, energy is stored in the form of magnetic field. For that equation is U is equal to half L I naught square. U is equal to half L I naught square. Energy stored in an inductor. Their energy is stored in the form of magnetic energy. In case of spring, energy stored U is equal to half k x square, In case of a spring, energy stored is U is equal to half k x square. Energy is stored as potential energy. There. In case of capacitor, energy stored in the capacitor U is equal to half C V square, and in case of inductor, energy stored U is equal to half L I naught square. In case of spring, energy stored U is equal to half k x square. This is electrostatic energy stored in the form of electrical energy, electrostatic potential energy. Here energy is stored in the form of magnetic energy. Here energy is stored in the form of potential energy. The difference we should know. And here we can substitute these values again. So we can redo this equation as, that is just for a comparison. Whenever we learn concepts, it is better to compare this with other concepts so that we can understand it better. We have U is equal to half C V square, isn't it? We can substitute, here we can substitute half U is equal to half C is equal to the C value, you can just have it as C is equal to Q by V, that can be substituted. C is equal to, you can write C is equal to epsilon naught A by D. We have C is equal to epsilon naught A by D, and V is equal to, we have already got that E is equal to V divided by D, or V equal to E into D, isn't it? E is equal to V by D, V equal to E into D. Capacitance of the capacitor C is equal to epsilon naught A by D. These values, let us substitute that. So instead of C, we substitute epsilon naught A by D. Instead of V square, we can substitute E square D square. Then one D and D gets cancelled. Then we are going to get that energy stored E is equal to U is equal to 1 by 2. We have epsilon naught there, A is there, and take this D this side. One D and D get cancelled. Then we get E square. We get E square, where E is the electric field. A into D. What is A? A is the area. A is the area of the plate. A is the total area of the plate. A is area of the plate. What is D? D is the distance between the plates. D is the distance between the plates. So if you are considering this as a cuboid, if you are just considering this as a cuboid, then total volume will be length into breadth into height. For a cuboid, total volume is length into breadth into height. So A into D will give us volume, total volume. This A into V will give us total volume. If you want to calculate total electrostatic potential energy stored in the capacitor per unit volume, if you want to calculate total electrostatic potential energy stored in the capacitor per unit volume, we can divide this by total volume. If we divide this by total volume, which is equal to A into D, where A is total area, of the plates, and D is the distance between the plates. If you multiply A into D, that gives total volume here, okay. Then we get U is equal to half epsilon naught E square, where epsilon naught is permittivity 8.854 into 10 power minus 12, and E is the electric field. E is the electric field. This is energy stored per, so we can call it as energy density. Energy density. It is nothing but the energy stored in the capacitor per unit volume. It is called energy density. Energy density is nothing but the energy stored per unit volume. This is the total energy stored. If it is divided by total volume of the capacitor, we get energy stored per unit volume. We call it as energy density. Energy density. Hope children you get this. Now we shall discuss capacitors in series and parallel. We shall discuss capacitors in series and in parallel. To get the different values of capacitance, capacitors can be connected in series or in parallel. Okay. And also this can be related to, resistors in series and parallel. We can compare and study. Students, in the case where capacitors are connected in series, when see that the capacitors, 3 capacitors are connected in series and they are connected to a common potential. They are connected to a common potential here. V1 is the potential drop across C1, V2 is the potential drop across C2, V3 is the potential drop across C3. When as this is connected to positive here, when the first capacitor is connected to positive here, the plates in the left side, their positive charges will be induced. That in turn induces negative charges here. See, these 2 plates are connected, therefore in turn this induces positive charges here, and this is connected to negative here. This in turn induces negative charges there. This plate of the third capacitor is connected here, therefore that in turn induces positive charges there, and that again induces negative charges that side. So when the plates are connected like this, charges are induced this way, then potential difference between first capacitor is V1, potential difference between the second capacitor is V2, potential difference between the plates of the third capacitor is V3. If V is the potential difference here, then we can write that total potential difference here V must be equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. In case of parallel connection, potential difference will be the same. In case of parallel connection, potential difference will be the same. Even in our home, for our home, we are getting power supply from electricity department, isn't it? Through the EB lines, we are getting power supply, isn't it? Okay. In our home, all the electrical connections are made parallel. It's all parallel connection. For every component, we are connecting 220 voltage. For any house, for fan or TV, whatever is, the supply what we are giving is 220 voltage. It's a parallel connection. It is 220 voltage. Potential difference will be the same. Now, let us derive an equation to calculate the effective capacitance. We know that C is equal to Q by V. C is equal to Q divided by V. Capacitance of the capacitor is ratio between charge given to the plates and potential developed between the plates. Now let us write that, let us take that C1 is equal to Q1 divided by V1 and C2 is equal to Q2 divided by V2 and C3 is equal to Q3 divided by V3, and from this we can write that V1 is equal to Q1 divided by C1 and V2 is equal to Q2 divided by C2 and V3 is equal to Q3 divided by C3. The individual potential difference will be equal to the total potential difference. V equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3, whereas in this case, in case of parallel combination, the potential difference across the capacitor C1 is the same as V. The potential difference across the plates of the capacitor C2 is the same as V. The potential difference between the plates of the capacitor C3 is same as V because they are parallelly connected. Here it is series connection, here it is parallel connection. then the potential will be the same. If this is V1, if this is V2 here, if this is V3, then V will be equal to V1, that will be equal to V2, that will be equal to V3. Parallel connection, our household connection is parallel connection, common potential 220 voltage. So from this we can write the total potential V will be equal to V1 is Q1 by C1, V1 is Q1 by C1 plus V2 is equal to Q2 by C2, V2 is equal to Q2 by C2 and V3 is equal to Q3 by C3, V3 is equal to Q3 by C3, Q3 by C3. Okay, and that will be equal to charges. Charges will be the same, charges will be the same because they are connected in series and in turn only they are inducing the charges. Charges will be the same. Then we can write that this will be equal to Q divided by C1 plus Q divided by C2 plus Q divided by C3. Then with the same equation we can write here V is equal to Q by C, Q divided by C, where the capacitors are connected in series, Q divided by C is equal to, we can take here Q as common, then we get 1 divided by C1 plus 1 divided by C2 plus 1 divided by C3. Then Q gets cancelled, then finally we get 1 by Cs, we get 1 by Cs is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3. This is the final equation we are getting. Sum of reciprocal of individual capacitance values is equal to reciprocal of effective capacitance. So even for definitions in 2 mark or in 2 mark 3 mark definitions and laws, you need not to memorize anything. Know the equation and you can write the statements on your own. See that if you are asked to define effective capacitance of capacitors connected in series. If you know the equation, write the statement on your own. Sum of reciprocal of individual capacitance of capacitors connected in series is equal to reciprocal of effective capacitance of the capacitors. Sum of reciprocal of individual capacitance of the capacitors connected in series is equal to reciprocal of effective capacitance of the capacitor combination. Now come to this, where the capacitors are connected in parallel, for the capacitors connected in parallel, you can write that. So let me take the space, and the final equation what we got for the capacitors in series is, we got that 1 by C sub x s is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3. This is what we got. Whereas for the capacitors connected in parallel, here we can write that with this, the equation we have C is equal to Q divided by V and we can write that V equal to, see that here as the capacitors are connected in parallel, potential will be the same, So we can write that V is equal to Q by C, we can write that V is equal to Q by C. There the capacitors are connected in parallel. Charges will be charged, see that you just recall Kirchhoff's first law. Kirchhoff's first law, that is junction rule. Kirchhoff's junction rule, first rule, it says that algebraic sum of current meeting at a junction is 0. Current flowing towards the junction is equal to current flowing away from the junction, isn't it? So here actually what happens here, from the charges are getting splitted from the battery, isn't it? Then we can write that Q will be equal to the total charge Q will be equal to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. Total charge which is coming from the battery, we can write that Q is equal to Q1 plus Q2 plus Q3. And we can write this, we have C is equal to Q divided by V, or we can write that Q is equal to C into V. So we can write that, from here we can write that total charge from the battery, Q is equal to C, where the capacitors are connected in parallel, and the overall potential difference here, that will be equal to Q1. Instead of Q1, you can write C1 into V1 plus C2 into V2 plus C3 into V3, The CPV is the charge here from the battery. From the same equation, C is equal to Q by V, C into V, Q is equal to C into V, charge from the battery, Q is equal to C into V, C suffix P, where the capacitors are connected in, when the capacitors are connected in parallel, V is the potential here from the battery. Q1, charges at the first capacitor, Q1 is equal to C1 into V1, C1 capacitance of the first capacitor, V1 is potential drop across the first capacitor. Q2 is equal to C2 into V2, where C2 is the capacitance of the second capacitor, V2 is the potential drop across the second capacitor, and Q3 is equal to C3 into V3, C3 capacitance of the third capacitor, V3 potential drop across the capacitor. See that as all the capacitors are connected in parallel, then the potential drop across, that is potential difference across the plates will be the same, which is equal to V. So we can write that this will be equal to C1 into V plus C2 into V plus C3 into V. V is the same, take it out, then you get C1 plus C2 plus C3, C1 plus C2 plus C3, V gets cancelled, then we get C sub x P is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. Capacitance of the capacitors when they are connected in parallel is equal to sum of the individual capacitance value. Effective capacitance of the capacitors when the capacitors are connected in parallel, effective capacitance of the capacitors is equal to sum of the individual capacitors value. Cp is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. The reciprocal of effective capacitance of the capacitors when they are connected in series is equal to sum of reciprocal of individual capacitors value. Reciprocal of effective capacitance of the capacitors connected in series 1 by Cs is equal to sum of reciprocal of individual capacitance. Capacitance of the capacitors when they are connected in parallel is equal to sum of the capacitance value, individual capacitance value. Cp is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. 1 by C is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3. Now you can just compare this with resistance. Let us just compare it with the resistor in series and parallel and compare the equations. See, in case this is capacitors in parallel. In case where the resistors are connected in parallel, this is the circuit where the resistors are connected in parallel and it is connected to a common battery like this, R1, R2, R3 here, okay, V1, V2, V3, V1, V2, V3. This is series connection, this is parallel connection, just like this. So let me draw it there to avoid confusion. Let me draw it there. This is parallel, so let me draw it here. This is resistor, this is also a resistor, this is another resistor, where three resistors are connected to a common potential. Okay, like this. R1 is the first resistor, R2 is the second resistor, R3 is the third resistor. R1, R2 and R3 are connected in parallel to a common potential V. Then potential difference across R1 will be V1, potential difference across R2 will be V2, potential difference across R3 will be V3, where anyhow all will be equal because they are parallelly connected. So we can write here V is equal to V1 that will be equal to V2 that will be equal to V3. Where a charge flowing through this, we can take current I1 here, current I2 here, and current I3 here, where current I is the current coming drawn from the battery. Applying Kirchhoff's first rule, we can write that current I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. Current I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. Apply Ohm's law. Ohm's law, V equal to I into R. Ohm's law, V equal to I into R. Steady current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to potential difference between two ends of the conductor when temperature remains constant. That point is very, very important. We have to insist that temperature remains constant, because when temperature changes, resistance changes, because dimension of the wire may change, isn't it? When temperature changes, resistance changes. Okay, you just recall the equation which we already which we are going to discuss, that RT equal to R naught into 1 plus alpha, and we have equation that RT equal to R naught into 1 plus alpha into T, where temperature changes, resistance changes. That we will discuss later. Apply Ohm's law, V equal to I into R. So if you apply this, we can write that as I is equal to V by R. We can write that V divided by R when they are connected in parallel is equal to V1 divided by R1 plus V2 divided by R2 plus V3 divided by R3 plus V3 divided by R3. Then we can write that V1, V2, V3 all are same. They are connected in parallel. This is V. So that gets cancelled. Then finally we will get that 1 divided by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. When the resistors are connected in parallel, reciprocal of effective resistance, where resistors are connected in parallel, is equal to sum of the reciprocal of individual resistors value. 1 by Rp equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. In case where the resistors are connected in series, in case when the resistors are connected in series like this, you just imagine there are 3 resistors connected like this to a common potential V. Imagine this is R1, this is R2, this is R3. Here potential difference is V1, here potential difference is V2, here potential difference is V3. In case of parallel combination, in case of capacitor or the resistor, whatever is, the potential difference across the capacitor is the same as potential difference here. The potential difference V2 across the resistor is same as V, whereas in case of series it differs, just like this. But V1 is different from V. Similarly, V1 is different from V here. Okay, because this series combination. Again, we are applying Ohm's law. Here, current will be the same. In this case, we have to apply Kirchhoff's first rule, junction rule. Algebraic sum of current meeting at a junction is 0. It is according to law of conservation of charge. Kirchhoff's second rule is algebraic sum of product of current and resistance in a closed circuit is equal to algebraic sum of EMF of the same closed circuit. It is Kirchhoff's second rule. Okay, it is Kirchhoff's voltage rule. It is according to law of conservation of energy. Kirchhoff's first rule is based on law of conservation of charge. Kirchhoff's second rule is based on law of conservation of energy, just like Lenz law in magnetism. Lenz law in magnetism is also based on law of conservation of energy. Okay, so here what happens that current is the same, that is I1 is equal to I2 is equal to I3, because there is series connection. Again we apply Ohm's law here, apply Ohm's law, V equal to I into R, apply Ohm's law, V equal to I into R. Then we can write for the battery that it is I into R, where the resistors are connected in series, that is equal to I1 into R1 plus I2 into R2 plus I3 into R3 plus I3 into R3, because V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3, because V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. So we can write this, whereas current is the same because this series connection. So we can write that I into R sub x s is equal to, take I common, then you get R1 plus R2 plus R3. I gets cancelled, then you get R sub x s is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. Effective resistance of resistors connected in series is equal to sum of the individual resistors value. R sub x s is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. Now let us just write the equations and compare to get clear idea on this. Okay, we have that resistors in series and parallel and the capacitors in series and parallel. Okay, For resistors in series, R suffix S is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. Keep this in mind, don't forget. Whereas resistors in parallel, 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. Don't forget this equation. In case of capacitors, when capacitors in series, it is just opposite. 1 by C is equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3. In case of parallel, Cp is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. Don't forget this. You just compare these equations and recall. Whereas here we apply Ohm's law, V equal to I into R. We apply Ohm's law, V equal to I into R. We also apply Kirchhoff's rule there. Here we apply C is equal to Q by V. C is equal to Q by V. Where the capacitors or resistors, when they are connected in parallel, then potential difference is the same. That you have to keep it in mind. In case of series connection, potential difference is not the same. Current will be the same. Charge will be the same. If you apply that, we are going to get this. Resistor in series equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. 1 by Rp equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. 1 by Cs equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3. Cp is equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3. Effective resistors of resistors connected in series is equal to sum of the individual resistors. Reciprocal of effective resistors of resistance connected in parallel equal to sum of the reciprocal of individual resistance. Effective capacitance of capacitors connected in series. Reciprocal of effective capacitance of capacitors connected in series is equal to sum of the reciprocal of individual capacitance. When the capacitors are connected in parallel, the effective capacitance is equal to sum of the individual capacitors value. So please compare these equations and have clear idea, don't get confused. Okay. Even similarly, actually, when the batteries are connected, we can write this equation that, for example, when the batteries are connected in series like this. When the batteries are connected in series like this, we can write that resultant EMF is equal to EMF 1 plus EMF 2 plus EMF 3. You can write this way. When the batteries are connected in series, we can write the total EMF is equal to EMF of the first cell plus EMF of the second cell plus EMF of the third cell. We can write that way. Hope students, you understand these concepts better. Our school, Sri Vidyalakshmi Metric Higher Secondary School, is uploading videos for class 12 and 11 students on all subjects and all concepts. Please watch these videos and make use of this. We expect your genuine feedback. Okay, you can appreciate us if it is good. You can suggest us for improvement. நம்ம ஸ்கூல் ஸ்ரீ வித்யாலட்சுமி மெட்ரிக் ஹையர் செகண்டரி ஸ்கூல் மூலிமா நாங்கள் அப்லோட் பண்ணுற எல்லா வீடியோஸும் நீங்கள் பாருங்கள். உங்களுக்கு இந்த வீடியோஸ்லாம் யூஸ்ஃபுல்லாக இருந்தால் பிடிச்சிருந்தா, if you are able to understand, if it is going to help you, எங்களுக்கு சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்கள். Okay, you can also give comments to improve ourselves. Okay, thank you students, thank you for watching our video. Thank you.